Hey there, friends, and welcome to episode 246 of Just the Zoo of Us. In this week's episode, I am joined by naturalist and author of Secrets of the Octopus, Sy Montgomery, for a look into the life and mind of some of the ocean's most mystifying aliens. We discuss an octopus's least favorite texture, what happens when an arm goes rogue, the underwater city of Octopolis, how to make interspecies friendships, and so much more. Just the Zoo of Us presents the giant Pacific octopus with Sy Montgomery. Hello, everybody. It's Ellen Weatherford with your favorite animal review podcast, Just the Zoo of Us, and I am so excited and a little bit starstruck this week to have a brand new friend talking about a really fascinating animal that I know a lot of y'all can't wait to hear about. This week, we're talking with Sy Montgomery. Can you say hi?
Hi, everybody.
Your name, I think, is going to be very familiar to a lot of people, especially people who read a lot of books about nature and wildlife, because you are a naturalist and an author that writes a lot about the natural world around us. So for people listening who are just now getting to know you, could you introduce yourself a little bit to our friends? What got you into the work that you do writing about animals?
Oh man, I was interested in animals from before I could speak. When I was less than 2 years old, I was born in Germany, and my parents took me to the Frankfurt Zoo. And I was just a toddler, and I broke free of my parents. And when they found me again, they discovered that I was in the hippo pen with the hippo.
Oh no!
So, I always knew that animals were my people. And as soon as I could actually speak, I informed my parents I was actually a horse.
Love it.
And my mother took me to the pediatrician to see what was wrong with me. And he said, oh, she'll grow out of it, which I did when I realized that actually I was a dog.
Only a minor correction. Only a minor correction.
Oh, my gosh. But so this is always what I wanted to do. Be with animals, learn their secrets, share them with others, and recruit readers to reverence and care for, the rest of animate creation. I've written 38 books, and they are all about animals or animals and people in relationship. And as a science writer, often that means I'm looking into the relationship between animals who are being studied and the people who are conducting the studies. My first book was on Jane Goodall, Diane Fossey, and Birute Galdikas, because their relationships with their study animals was so important. And so often in my research, I literally get to know my subjects. And in the case of octopus, that meant, one, sticking my hands and arms into tanks containing octopuses, and two, learning to scuba dive so that I could commune with them in the wild.
People, I think, often like to think of themselves as being spectators into the world of nature and animals, but it's easy to forget that we're just as much a part of their world as they are of ours. We're not as separate as we like to think of ourselves.
Right. You're absolutely right. And I think when we make the mistake of believing that we're really the only animals out there that matter, or that we are the pinnacle of creation, or that we are the only ones who can think and feel and know, we risk losing our way in the universe. We risk this terrible feeling of being alone. And the next thing you know, our pollution will be ruining the climate, and there will be more plastic in the sea than fish.
I think the octopus is such a great ambassador for this concept because it's difficult to get more different from a human than an octopus.
Oh gosh, that's exactly what I say. You'd have to go to outer space or science fiction to find someone more different than us. They have no bones. They breathe water, not air. They can change color and shape and pour their baggy, boneless bodies through tiny openings. They taste with all of their skin. They have 3 hearts. They have blue blood. They can shoot ink. They possess a beak like a parrot. And they also have venom. And it's unbelievable. They can taste with their entire body, but particularly in their suckers. And their suckers, oh my gosh. And I can talk about their suckers because I've had an awful lot of suckers on me in my time. The first time I actually met an octopus, I went home having to explain to my husband why I got back from Boston covered in Higgies. So, yeah.
Boy, that thing was stuck on there.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not scary and it doesn't hurt at all. But the strength of these suckers. I later read that in a giant Pacific octopus, a big male might have some cups, suction cups, that are 3.5 inches in diameter. For a sucker that big, that single sucker is strong enough to lift 30 pounds.
Oh my gosh. So boy, once that thing's on there, it's not coming off, huh?
No kidding. But I was never hurt by any of the octopuses that I knew, including the wild ones. I mean, I also had sense enough not to bother them. Sometimes mostly divers are really smart, careful people. But every once in a while you get somebody who thinks it would be just really cute to put an octopus, say, inside their dive mask and take a picture. Well, I met someone who did that, and the octopus fled up his nose.
No, that's the worst possible place for it to go.
No kidding. And, all of these animals, there's over 350 species of octopus. All of the ones that I know about are venomous. I mean, not that they're going to hurt you with their venom, not that their venom can kill you. Some can. The blue ring octopus has venom so toxic, there's no antidote really known to counteract it. You just try to keep the person from total organ failure while their own system tries to process it. But, these animals, yeah, they can hurt you if they want it. But if you're not a jerk, they're either going to hide from you, or if you're lucky, you'll meet a bold individual who will come out and play and maybe even show you around the neighborhood.
First of all, if you're going to be a creature that is covered entirely in like very soft, squishy skin, like there's no shell, there's no armor, there's nothing in between the octopus and something that might try to hurt it. So like it makes sense that you'd want to maybe have a little venom in your bite, right? Like you need a little something to keep yourself from getting bullied.
Well, you're so right. And it is in fact the loss of the ancestral shell. These guys, they're mollusks. So they're related to clams and snails. But we don't think of clams and snails as being particularly intelligent, but we do recognize that octopuses are very intelligent. And you're right, their intelligence was sculpted by the loss of that shell. Because the loss of the shell, A, made them vulnerable to so many predators. Everybody can eat an octopus. And 2, it freed them up to move around rapidly where they could hunt a lot of different kinds of prey. So they developed this incredible intelligence to 1, escape from a huge variety of predators, and 2, to enjoy a huge variety of prey items.
The idea that they had to let go of what was protecting them, that could have also been holding them back, perhaps. Maybe the rigidity of the protection was keeping them from maybe realizing their potential.
Well, right. I mean, clams aren't known for being very adventuresome, are they?
It reminds me of that saying that goes, I cannot remember where I heard this, but that saying of a ship in the harbor is safe, but that's not what ships were built to do. Like, absolutely. That's not why you build a ship. You don't build a ship to keep it in the harbor, even though that's where it's safest.
Right. Exactly. I think that's a really good, the octopus is a great metaphor for, giving up the safety of the shell for the adventure and danger of being a great hunter and a genius.
They had to literally come out of their shell.
Right. It's true. Although sometimes they go back in their shell. This is hilarious. But in Secrets of the Octopus, we see instances of octopuses who, confronted with, in this case, a very annoying shrimp who has little pointy parts, and he's poking the octopus with this. And the octopus clearly is annoyed. What is he going to do? Well, he looks around and, oh, there's a shell lying on the ocean floor. And he picks it up in his arms and holds it out like a shield. So it's like back to the shell.
We've come full circle. We're back to shell.
Exactly. It's terrific. And octopuses will hide in shells. And sometimes they'll even use two halves of a coconut shell to make themselves a Quonset hut. They'll walk around looking for these things, and they'll lug them a long distance, carrying them in their interbrachial web. Sometimes they'll actually walk along on two of their arms, using other arms to carry these two coconut husks. And when they get to where they're going, they take the two halves and, using their suckers, pull it together into this beautiful spherical home that is impenetrable.
It's like a little camping backpack.
It is.
They got
totally
a little tent in.
You're right. They're so smart.
If this is anyone's first time listening to this podcast, our whole deal is that we rate animals out of 10 in different categories. And the first category we rate animals on is what we call effectiveness, which is physical adaptations, things built into this animal's body that allow it to do the things it's trying to do. Maybe find prey, not become prey themselves, ways that they've adapted to their environment, things that are built into their body. What do you give the giant Pacific octopus out of 10 for effectiveness?
Oh, I might give it an 11.
I mean, it's the biggest one, right? Like, they're ahead of the game. They're kind of like on the top of the leaderboard as far as octopuses go.
They have so many tricks up their sleeves. And of course, they have 8 sleeves. So that's plenty of tricks.
That's a lot of tricks. You mentioned earlier the suckers. What's going on there with the suckers since you've gotten a nice up close look at them?
Oh boy. Well, they're really cool structures. Each one of them, as well as being exquisitely adapted to chemoreceptivity, they can taste exquisitely with their suckers. They can taste with their whole bodies, but particularly in their suckers. Their suckers are tremendously strong, as we mentioned earlier. A small common octopus, the one that is most likely to be served to you in a Greek restaurant, can resist a 1/4 ton of force.
Whoa.
Because of their incredible muscles and their suckers. And 3, each sucker is capable of performing a pincer grip like you and I would use with our thumb and forefinger to pick up and manipulate a tiny object. So this gives octopuses the ability to even untie knots in surgical silk.
Are you kidding? I've never heard that before. That is incredible.
Yeah, they are capable of this, and they love to manipulate objects. They know they're talented at this. So they love to play with the same toys our children do. When they're in captivity, there's actually an enrichment manual for octopuses to make sure that octopuses don't get bored. And they recommend that you give them Mr. Potato Head, like you might give to your kid, or to give them some Legos to put stuff together. And in some aquariums, they have taught octopuses, to amuse themselves, to take photographs of visitors by threading their arms into tiny tubes and pressing a button. Others have been given an opportunity to pull and push levers that are attached out of the water to paintbrushes. And in this way, the octopuses paint.
Wow.
But if you don't give an octopus something to do, your octopus might be up to no good. And they are famous as escape artists. They alter their environment. We knew one who did not like a light over the aquarium. It annoyed them.
Honestly, relatable, because nobody likes the big light.
No one likes that.
No one likes the big light. Get them a lamp.
I know. Well, what this octopus did was, using their funnel, which is how they jet through the sea. It's this tube at the side of their head, and they can jet through the sea. But they can also squirt water out of it with amazing accuracy. And they squirted it into the light, so it was shorting it out every single day.
The octopus has made its own light switch.
Yes, absolutely. And others, get out of their tank. If you leave the tiniest opening, if you put the lid to the tank on not quite right, if it's just slightly ajar, they'll get out of their tank and they will wreak havoc. Sometimes there's so many stories of them getting out of their tank in an aquarium and getting into someone else's tank and eating everybody in there. There's even reports, although I haven't been able to verify them, that they then get back into their own tank. And in the morning, when the aquarist comes in, they look innocently at them, but they know nothing about what happened to the fish in the tank next door.
The octopus is in there like, who closed last night? Jeez, I don't know how this happened. Like, you should have seen it. It was nuts in here. Everyone but me was going nuts.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny. There's a wonderful book of fiction out, Remarkably Bright Creatures, that the author, who I have not yet met, but who I already adore, she credits my octopus book with inspiring hers. And the whole premise of this book, which is fiction, is this octopus getting out at night and what he does.
A real night at the museum situation.
Yes, exactly.
It's so funny. I was at the Seattle Aquarium and they have a giant Pacific octopus tank. And I was asking about this. I was asking like, hey, what do you guys do to keep your octopuses put? Like, how do you get them to stay put? I know that they're, that diabolical combination of being very smart and very dexterous, right? Like very high degree of sort of fine motor skills.
Yes.
And I was like, what do you do to keep your octopuses in the tank? And they said, well, if you look up at the top of the tank where basically the ceiling of the tank, it is a ledge lined completely with felt. And they said, yeah, I don't know what it is. Octopuses hate felt. So if they ever try to climb up the side, when they get to the top, they touch the felt and they just, they get like squeaked out by it. And they just fall back down. They're like, ew.
Yeah, they also hate astroturf, artificial turf. And a lot of aquariums use that as well. And if you really want to annoy an octopus, touch it with a bristly stick. And this was actually done at Seattle Aquarium, some ingenious experiments to see if octopuses did, in fact, as I have discovered myself, they do recognize individual human faces just looking up at the water. But what they did was they took 2 sets of volunteers, identically dressed, and half of them were supposed to give the octopus a delicious fish, and the other half had to touch the octopus with a bristly stick that probably felt like astroturf. And the octopuses hate being touched with a bristly stick. It didn't hurt them, but they didn't like it. So very quickly, the octopuses, even if you left your fish at home, they would look up at your face, remember, oh, this is my nice fish person. They'd scoot on over, and sometimes they'd flip over and essentially beg for a fish. And the ones who'd been touched by a bristly stick, they would look at the bristly stick person, even if the person left the bristly stick at home. And they would scoot as fast as they could away from that person.
They said, absolutely
Although
not.
Sometimes they would blast
don't think
them in the face with freezing cold hot water first.
Well, I mean, yeah, they can have beef, right? Like, I wouldn't... Listen, my greatest sensory nightmare is velvet.
Really?
So I was saying to this to the aquarium worker, I was like, listen, if you locked me in a jail cell and the only way to get out was to open the door with a handle that was lined in velvet, I would be imprisoned for decades. There's no way. You could easily keep me in there if I just had to touch velvet. Ugh,
we know gross. How to keep you in your tank, don't we?
I totally understand where the octopus is coming from. I totally get it. It's gross. It's a bad touch.
Well, particularly if you taste with your skin as well as feel with your skin.
And that seems to me like there are some things I would rather not have to taste.
Yes, no
right?
kidding. Oh, imagine you just put your elbows on the table and someone spilled mustard there. Or if you're walking around barefoot, think of all the things you could taste that you didn't want to if you could taste with all of your skin. But another thing that they taste, that they despise, that reminds me. One of the very few people that my friend Octavia, who was a giant Pacific octopus, did not want to meet was my best friend, Elizabeth Marshall Thomas. And my best friend, who is now 92, has always gotten along with every kind of animal I've ever seen. But she's a smoker. And even though she hadn't smoked in the car on the way to the aquarium, and even though we all wash our hands before we touch the octopus, I think that Octavia tasted the nicotine in her blood and was
Wow.
totally repelled. She touched her. It was like that scene in the Sistine Chapel, with Adam and God, but instead it was Liz and my friend Octavia, one tentacle touching and one finger touching, or one arm touching, and they touched each other, and they both flew apart like it was the most awful thing that they'd ever touched/tasted.
That would be the worst heartbreak. I could never suffer a more devastating rejection than an octopus being like, absolutely not. No, thank you. I don't think I would recover from that.
It would be really sad. But
that would devastate me. I just want to be friends so bad.
Watching the octopus, but I do love interacting with them. And the fact that, that they love the same things we do, despite how different we are. They love gentle touch. And I have been petting octopuses that really enjoyed that, to the point that they began to turn white, which is the color of a relaxed octopus. And I've seen octopuses get so excited that I'm there and that we can play with stuff that instead they turn red, which is the color of excitement. It's also it's a color of excitement and irritation too. But, just like people get real kind of red in the face when we flush with excitement or when we flush with anger. But that's the giant Pacific. Not every octopus turns red when they're upset. And the different octopus species can change into all kinds of amazing colors and patterns, and can mimic other animals so effectively that other animals are themselves fooled. They think they're seeing a fellow flounder or a fellow lionfish when they see an octopus doing an impersonation. The mimic octopus is particularly great at this.
Yeah, if you look up videos of the mimic octopus, it will fool you. Like this octopus will absolutely get one over on you, the human being.
Yes. In fact, one part of the book, when I was writing Secrets of the Octopus, one whole section begins with the way that octopuses fooled their researchers so much that this stalls research, actually. They're constantly outwitting the scientist. I have a very funny picture that Warren Carlyle, founder of Octonation, the world's largest octopus fan club and contributor to Secrets of the Octopus, he has sent me a picture of a researcher who was trying to take a picture of an octopus underwater. The octopus grabbed the camera and took a picture of him.
Uno reversed.
I know. Fabulous. Isn't that great?
This all speaks to, I think, both the sensitivity of the octopus, like it is taking in so much sensory input from the world around it, right? Like its taste and its vision, and it is just like taking in so many signals, but also like processing and understanding those signals, which is just not something that we really expect to see from, a sea creature, where maybe they live closer to the bottom of the ocean where, there's not a lot of light. You wouldn't really expect them to be doing a lot of like looking around, but they're like taking in so much of the world and like processing it in such unexpected ways.
Yeah, you're right. And for this, they essentially need 9 brains. As you may know, octopuses have a central brain that looks nothing like our brain, which actually wraps around their throat. And our brain has 4 visible lobes on that you can see from the outside. They may have 50 to 75 lobes. But in addition to the central brain, they have almost like mini brains in each of their arms. And so an arm can decide to do something without consulting the central brain. All 8 arms may have a different idea of something. So
one of your arms could be going rogue.
I know.
It's totally just got its own agenda.
It's just like that Ogden Nash poem that said, I wonder at the octopus. If I were thou, I'd call me us.
Yeah, it is more of a collective, like a hive mind of a creature almost.
Yeah, it really is. You kind of wonder what would it be like to have multiple selves. But you can see some of these arm brains in action. If an octopus, in some tragic accident, somebody bites one of their arms off, which does happen, and they can regrow those arms. But the severed arm, although it's now separated from the three hearts and all the digestive organs and all that kind of stuff, but the severed arm can still go off and do stuff for a while. And it can change colors and it can hunt prey.
It's going on solo tour. It's branching off. It's left the band. It's enjoying a nice little solo career, going on its own little tour.
It's true.
Off on an adventure.
Well, and one of the scientists I talked to once said to me, if you ask how smart is an octopus, you could wonder, what if they asked us, how many colors can your severed arm turn in half a second?
One, it's blue.
Right.
Hey friends, we are going to take a quick break to hear from a couple of our friends on the Maximum Fun Network. When we get back, we are going to talk ingenuity and aesthetics for the giant Pacific octopus, so stay with us.
Hey, this is Mike Cabalon,
Ifewadiwe,
and Sierra Kato,
the hosts of TV Chef Fantasy League,
where we apply fantasy sports rules to cooking competition shows.
We're not professional chefs or fantasy sports bros.
Just three comedians who love cooking shows and winning.
We'll cover Top Chef, Master Chef, Great British Bake Off, whatever's in season, really.
Ooh, you know chefs love cooking whatever's in season.
We draft a team of chefs at the top of every series.
And every week, we recap the episode and assign points based on how our chefs did.
And at the end of the season, we crown a winner.
You can even play along at home if you want.
Or you can just listen to us like a regular podcast about cooking shows. That's cool, too.
Subscribe to TV Chef Fantasy League on MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everyone out there. Thank you for coming to our service.
Yes.
We are ready to heal you. We are Ross and Carrie. We are faith healers. Yes, you there.
Yes, sir. You have a spirit of
not listening to enough podcasts.
We have the solution for that.
Oh, we can cure you.
You should listen to Oh No, Ross and Carrie. Hallelujah. It's on Maximum Fun.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you there. Gladys.
A spirit of boredom?
Oh my goodness, we have the solution for you. It is to listen to the podcast,
Oh No, Ross and Carrie.
I'm glad that you bring up the question of how smart is an octopus, because this actually brings us to the second category that we rate animals on, which is ingenuity. This is behaviors, things they're doing with their body to solve problems that they face, maybe ways that they navigate relationships with each other, or, outsmart their prey, outsmart their predators, things like that. What would you give octopuses out of 10 for ingenuity?
Oh, I would definitely have to give them a 10.
I feel like I saw that coming.
Well, no other animal that I can really think of has to get inside the psyche of so many different kinds of predators and so many different kinds of prey. Because think of this, octopuses are food for almost everybody. They hatch out of tiny eggs the size of a grain of rice. Everyone can just suck them up. They're part of the plankton. But then as they start to grow even, they can be eaten by fish. They can be eaten by mammals like whales and seals. They can be eaten by birds who actually will hunt for them from above. And there are so many different kinds of birds and whales and fish and sea lions and otters, etc., etc., etc. And to cope with each one of them, they may have to use a different strategy. Will they change color? Well, what color? There are literally millions, if not billions, of tiny, they're called chromatophores. They're like little pouches or sacs of color, each controlled. It can be spread apart to make like a big pot of paint, or contracted to make it little or invisible. And they're stacked. There's 3 layers of these things. They're stacked on top of one another. And this is under the animal's control to decide, am I going to have stripes? Am I going to have polka dots? Am I going to be all brown? Am I going to show this passing cloud display in which it looks like color is washing across the octopus's body. Am I going to hide? Am I going to pretend I'm something else? Am I going to shoot ink? Am I going to go on the offensive? With sharks, for example, sometimes they'll use their suckers to adhere to the shark who's trying to eat them. And this is an amazingly effective strategy at times, but awfully brave.
I was going to say, that is bold.
It is so bold. Or am I going to build myself a structure in which I can hide? Or will I hide all but my arms in the sand and wave my arms above the sand and look like I'm a bunch of sea snakes?
No octopuses here. It's just me, some kelp.
Just think of all of this. And they, if shooting ink doesn't work, they'll try something else. If that doesn't work, they try something else. If this color scheme doesn't work, they try that one. They're very fast on their, feet. They're contending with all of this stuff every minute of every day in the wild ocean.
Now, octopuses are up against a lot. There are a lot of creatures that maybe they're on the menu of. There's a lot of creatures on their own menu. But when it comes to octopus versus octopus, or when it comes to the octopus's relationship to other octopuses, I feel like something I don't hear a lot about is octopuses working together or socializing with each other. Like, what does the relationship look like between, like, an octopus comes across another octopus? How is that going to go?
Well, I am so glad that you asked that, because this is actually 1/3 of the book, Secrets of the Octopus, and 1/3 of the TV series, focusing on their sociality. Because when I wrote my first book about octopus, which came out in 2015, which is called The Soul of an Octopus, it was believed that, except for a very rare handful of species, octopuses were asocial. They only met to meet or eat each other, and sometimes both, literally a dinner date. And in fact, this is what happened to the Octopus Wild blind date at Seattle Aquarium, which I adored and which I attended. But there was such a danger that one would eat the other that they discontinued it. But now we're in the golden age of octopus discovery, and we're finding out that for many of these more than 350 species of octopuses, many of these species are social, at least in some environments and contexts. So, for example, there are some octopuses who have to mate so carefully that the male actually won't even leave his den, and he'll just send out his specialized arm and try to stick the sperm packet in the female before she can bite it off. But there's other species that actually they will mate beak to beak, the most vulnerable position. And they seem to keep track of their special boyfriends or girlfriends. There are other octopuses that live in such large associations that there is a place called Octopolis, where large aggregations of gloomy octopus live in Australia. And they have found a second site in Australia they call Octatlantis, because it's like an octopus city.
Take me to Octopolis. That's where I want to go.
I love it.
I volunteer to be the official ambassador for humans.
That would be fantastic.
Set me up in the little Octopolis embassy.
Well, your question about their sociality is also interesting, because not only do octopuses associate with other octopuses more often than we ever dreamed and in more complex ways than we thought, but they also form associations, at least some species do, with other animals. For instance, there are fish that will come and do a special signal to their octopus friend. They will stand on their head that says, "Guess what? I know where we should go hunting together." And the octopus recognizes that signal and will follow the fish, who has found a whole bunch of tasty invertebrate things that are hiding inside, say, the crevices of coral. Well, the bony fish can't reach that, but the octopus can, because all of their arms are all squishy and bendy. They're more like our tongues and our biceps. And all of us remember when Coke was in bottles and you could stick your tongue down in the Coke bottle. octopus's entire bodies are like that. So the octopus sticks his arms in these crevices, and out comes a bounty of delicious prey for everybody.
It's like when my friend texts me and says, "Hey, I saw there's a good deal at Costco, but you're the one with a Costco membership.
Yes.
So I'll go halvesies on it if you get into Costco for me."
Exactly. And I find this just so exciting for a number of reasons. And one is I had made very good friends with a number of octopuses from my first book. They recognized me. I would spend hours with them. I would go to the aquarium like at least once a week and spend as much time.
You go into the aquarium and it's like in Cheers when everyone's like, "Norm."
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The octopuses were delighted to have something to do. But I kind of wondered, what do I have to offer this animal? We are separated by 500 million years of evolution. The last time we shared a common ancestor, everybody was a tube. So why do they want to have anything to do with me? Particularly if giant Pacific octopuses are so solitary, like everybody says. Well, now, all these years later, scientists are finding out that they do have associations, important associations with other species and with their fellow octopuses.
All you got to do is bring them a Mr. Potato Head
Yeah,
and you're good.
right.
You just got to bring them a tribute.
Right.
And don't poke them with a bristly stick and
No,
you're set.
leave that bristly stick at home. I figured, just like every other friendship, there's things that you get together with your friends because you enjoy doing stuff together. You might go out to dinner. Well, I would feed Octavia and Cully and Karma and the others. I would feed them a delicious fish. And so we would have lunch together. Or, maybe you get together to play tennis or play with other toys or do crossword puzzles. Well, we would play with toys together. And then there's others, who doesn't enjoy some gentle touch? And just like you love it when your husband puts his arm around you, think how much more you'd love it if an octopus put 8 arms around you.
You could have a full-on girls' day.
Yeah.
You could have a full-on girls' day. You get sushi, and then you enjoy a little bit of game time, right? You play some tennis. You play with toys, and then you get a massage. It's a full-on girls' day out.
Right. So what's not to love about a friendship with an octopus?
And they can kind of teach you to get back in touch with the joy of play.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Animals really help us with that, as do children. But you got to find something that everyone mutually enjoys. But octopuses, even though they're so unlike us, their minds are remarkably similar in a lot of ways. And what that shows me is the value of knowing someone unlike yourself, so you can delight in both the differences and the similarities. You can always find something that both of you are going to enjoy. But in the meantime, revel in those differences.
I think that when people are looking at an octopus, obviously it is very visually so far removed from anything familiar to humans. But I think people could be either drawn in by that sort of foreignness and the unfamiliarness of it, or they could be kind of weirded out by it. So the last category that we rate animals in is aesthetics, which is just how nice this animal is to look at, whether it's cute, cool, pretty, however you want to take that. What do you give the giant Pacific octopus out of 10 for aesthetics?
Oh, God. Well, again, an 11. They are beautiful. I mean, who else can change the color and pattern and shape of their skin?
They're never underdressed. They always have just the right outfit.
If you don't like the way they look one minute, look at them the next minute, and they're totally different.
They could immediately, seamlessly, day to night, they always have the right outfit. They always are appropriately dressed.
It's like that little black dress that you can wear working in the garden or picking up the Pulitzer Prize, right?
And I feel like, it's easy to look at an octopus and feel either unsettled by their alienness or drawn in by the sort of mysticism of how different they look. But then the eye contact. You know what I mean? Like they pull you in with the just something so bizarre about their eyes, I think.
You see the intelligence in their eyes. You can see there's someone there who's just as curious about you as you are about them. And their eyes are amazing. They actually see quite well. And unlike our eyes, they have no blind spot. They can see all the way around them.
You're not sneaking up on this dude.
You're right. You're totally not. But what is also interesting about their eyes is that their eyes appear to have no mechanism by which they could see color. And yet they can blend in with their background in less than the time it takes to blink an eye and create some of the most gorgeous colors you can imagine.
Oh, wow. There must be some sort of color reception that they have that we just don't fully understand yet.
Yeah, there's some scientists who think they may be able to see with their skin. Because they do have opsin, a protein that's associated with our eyes and color detection in their skin.
It's a lot like how a lot of people think chameleons work, even though that's not how chameleons work. It's like how people think chameleons work, but octopuses are just like doing it better.
Yeah, octopuses, I mean, not to diss chameleons, because I've had several friends with chameleons.
They rock.
They're awesome. But both on the color changing and on the regrowing severed body parts, octopuses beat chameleons, hands down, or arms down, or tails down. Have you ever seen a chameleon or any other lizard lose its tail and then they regrow the tail? And it's nice they can regrow a tail. I'd love to do that, but it doesn't ever look as good as the first one. With octopuses, they can regrow severed limbs, and they are perfect.
Like it never happened.
Yep.
It's seamless.
I know. Boy, that would be so cool.
Oh, boy. Wouldn't it be nice?
Honestly.
Well, I feel like the more you learn about an octopus, the more questions you have about them, right? Like it just sprouts a sort of endless fractal of like every new piece of information makes you feel like you know less about them because you're like, this is all so surprising, and it just brings up so many more questions. So for anybody that has listened to this and is like, I absolutely need to hear more because this has not satisfied my curiosity about octopuses, tell our friends listening where they can go to read more of your work, like your new book, Secrets of the Octopus, which is so exciting.
Well, my book, Secrets of the Octopus, should be everywhere books are sold. And also, there's a wonderful 3-part TV series to which it is the companion that you can see on Disney Plus and Hulu. And for my other books, you can Google my name and go to my website, symontgomery.com, for the other 37 titles.
I will make sure that I have links to everything in the episode description so anybody listening can just scroll down and click through and find all of your work. Also, just as a quick little mention, I bought for my kids years ago, I bought your book, Becoming a Good Creature, which is just a beautiful book about like the lessons you can learn about humanity and like being a nice person that you can like learn from animals. It's a gorgeous book. So for anyone who has kids or is shopping for kids, I really liked that one. That's a great place to start.
Oh, bless your heart. And there's octopuses in it. So
there is. Yeah, I think Octavia gets a mention in it.
The other thing I'd love to mention is the May edition of National Geographic magazine. Guess who's on the cover?
No.
Octopuses, written by me. I'm 66 years old. All my life, like every adventure writer or nature writer, I dreamed of writing for National Geographic. And at 66, it's my first article for the magazine, and it is the cover.
Oh, look at you. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm having such like secondhand. I'm going to be like in the grocery store pointing like, I know her.
Oh gosh. I am so honored.
It has been a delight. Thank you so much for your time, Sy. We will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Thank you all so much for listening. I hope that the giant Pacific octopus has wrapped all 8 arms around your heart. If you liked what you heard today, I hope you leave behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. If you want to hang out with us online, we are on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and TikTok. Links to everything will be in the episode description. You can also send me an email at ellen@justthezooofus.com if you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. We would like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network alongside their other wonderful shows like the ones that you heard promos for earlier in this episode. You can go check those out, learn more about the network, and how you can be a part of supporting our show and get access to our exclusive bonus content over at MaximumFun.org. Finally, we would like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music. That's all for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.